This is the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, keeping you informed about the happenings in Annapolis and the area. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and of course, local weather. The Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, November 20th, 2018. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Last night, the School Board Appointment Commission of Anne Arundel County voted in Robert Leib of Harwood to fill the vacant District 30 seat on the Board of Education. He will be sworn in with all the 4 elected new members at 9 a.m. on Monday, December 3rd. And he was chosen out of a field of 11 candidates who were all interviewed on the 29th of October and the 1st of November by the commission. And his term will expire in December of 2020, at which point we shift to a fully elected Board of Education. Back in October of 2018, the Special Investigations and Narcotics Unit received a complaint sent through Maryland Emergency Management Association's Safe Schools Maryland tip line. And this was an initiative of Governor Hogan, which put a toll-free tip line in schools so people could report bullying, illegal activities, and in this case, drugs. The tip said that 2 suspects were selling controlled and dangerous substance in the Broadneck area. And on Friday, a search warrant was executed in the 1200 block of Hilltop Drive in the Broadneck Peninsula. And they seized a little bit of marijuana. It was 6 Ziploc bags containing homemade edibles with THC, a large Ziploc bag containing homemade edibles with THC, and some paraphernalia. One male suspect was arrested, and he's been identified as Jason Carcamo, 18, of the 1200 block of Hilltop Drive. And there was a juvenile also arrested as well, and he was charged under a juvenile citation and released to his parents. And if you'll recall, when this tip line first was announced by Governor Hogan, it actually received a call during the press conference with Governor Hogan, and it looks like it's certainly working. Anne Arundel County Police are investigating a bizarre accident that happened very early on Saturday morning. At approximately 12:45, officers responded to a report of a pedestrian crash at 105 West Early Heights Road. When they arrived, they found that a Ford F-350, which is a really giant pickup truck, had been backing into a driveway at 105 West Early Heights Road. When for some reason the driver exited the vehicle continued to back up, struck the driver, who had just exited the vehicle, and ran him over. The vehicle came to a stop in a ditch. Now, the owner of the vehicle found the vehicle in the ditch and attempted to move it before realizing that the victim/driver was beneath it. Police do feel that alcohol used by the driver appears to have been a significant contributing circumstance to the accident. They are waiting an autopsy from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, and the traffic section is investigating that to get to the bottom of how that possibly could have happened. We mentioned about the different hate flyers that have been distributed in Glen Burnie and down in Lothian. We heard about them in Prince George's County and now Ellicott City. Howard County Police are investigating after flyers containing hate speech and a Ku Klux Klan logo were found in Ellicott City, Maryland yesterday. Police collected about 40 of them that appeared to be tossed along Main Street, and it does not appear that any one person was targeted, very similar to the ones in Anne Arundel and Prince George's County. And police are asking anybody who might have any doorbell camera or security camera surveillance to please check their footage for any possible leads as far as who may be responsible for that. Some good news for Tina Frost, and you'll remember her. She is the Arundel High graduate that was injured in the mass shooting in Las Vegas just a little bit more than a year ago. She is undergoing more surgeries this week in Baltimore at Hopkins as she recovers from the injuries suffered in Las Vegas. The surgeries this week at Johns Hopkins are purely cosmetic and include a procedure that is going to remove skin from her arm to create a new eyelid. And in the aftermath of the shootings, doctors removed her right eye and took a section of her skull to remove bullet fragments and allow her brain to heal. Tina Frost has not returned to work at her job at Ernst & Young in San Diego, but she is able to talk, walk, and drive her own vehicle in San Diego. She is going to be heading back home out to the West Coast at the end of November, and according to an update on the GoFundMe page for her, generous contributors have contributed more than $600,000 to aid in her recovery. So that's some really good news for Tina Frost. If you ever dreamt about getting to Baltimore from Washington in 15 minutes or maybe up to New York in an hour, it may be coming true in the next 7 or 8 years. The Mount Vernon Square neighborhood in D.C. has been chosen the terminus of a high-speed train capable of transporting riders at 311 miles per hour. This is the Northeast Maglev, and it could take riders from D.C. to Baltimore in about 15 minutes. And once extended, it will take them from D.C. to New York in about 1 hour. Planners have not yet announced specifically where in Baltimore the station might be, but they are looking very closely at the Inner Harbor and South Baltimore, which are both slated for some redevelopment areas there. Lest you think this is a project way, way, way in the future, tunneling for the Maglev train could begin as soon as 2020 and could begin operating by 2027. Hopeful, I guess, is the word to describe the Orioles' new general manager, Mike Elias. Elias spoke to the media on Monday, talked about his plans for rebuilding the worst team in the majors by drafting wisely, stocking the farm system, and delving deep into the international market. After finishing 47-115 this year, the O's essentially will start from scratch under Elias, as well as a replacement for manager Buck Showalter, who was fired after 8.5 seasons. Elias did warn at his news conference that there are no shortcuts to the reboot and said we are going to do this as quickly as we can. When questioned about the release of some of the team's superstars, Manny Machado, Zach Britton, Jonathan Schoop, and Kevin Gausman, he said those were the right moves. The teams had left a period of competitiveness. It was clear it was time to bring in new, younger talent into the organization, and we are going to build off of that work. Elias has a big task ahead of him, and hopefully owner Peter Angelos will understand that and give him the resources that he needs. That is about it for the top news today. Please make sure you're checking out eyeonannapolis.net throughout the day because we do update it throughout the day. Please give us a recommendation to your friends and colleagues if you're someplace where you can subscribe, and we do recommend that you do subscribe so it gets delivered to your phone right away. Give us a rating and leave us a review. Please remember that we will not be releasing a daily news brief on Thursday because it is Thanksgiving, and we want to spend it with our family as we encourage you to spend with yours. And you want to hang tight because we have George Young with your local DMV weather forecast coming right up in just a minute.
Here's to the teacher who spends her weekend helping children who need a little extra attention. To the soldier who missed the birth of his baby while serving overseas. To the EMT working full-time and taking night classes. To the police officers and firefighters working long hours away from their families to keep our families safe. Here's to you, our hometown heroes. I'm Alan Hyatt, Chairman and President of Severna Bank, and we know there are many heroes among us, men and women who serve without expecting anything in return, which is why we're honored to offer our Hometown Heroes program to educators, law enforcement officers, firefighters, first responders, healthcare workers, and military personnel. Whether you're opening a checking account or buying a new home, we're here to give back to you. Learn more about our Hometown Heroes program at severnbank.com. Severna Bank, here with you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Going out? You need the most up-to-date local weather. Here's George Young from DMV Weather in Annapolis with today's forecast.
Hey everyone, this is George with DMV Weather, and here's your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Tuesday, November 20th. Temps in the upper 40s to lower 50s today following the cold front moving through, which will allow high pressure to build in and deliver sunshine today through Friday, with temps on the decline each day into Thanksgiving Thursday, with highs expected to only be in the 30s. And there is still the potential for another nor'easter this weekend as a storm may form in the deep south or Gulf of Mexico and move up the east coast, most likely with sizable rains for the region. So stay tuned for updates on that. This is George Young of DMV Weather. Be sure to download our free app by searching for DC MDVA Weather from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store so you can always stay weather informed.
My name is Latoya Congolo. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and addictions therapist. Every day I see the terrible effects of the opioid epidemic before my very eyes. People are suffering. Families are suffering. Go to aacounty.org/heroin. There you will find some simple advice about opioid medications. Step up and be part of the solution. Doctor's orders.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis. And also tell them about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. This podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., keeping you informed with the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. And take a moment to listen to our other podcast, The Maryland Crabs, released every Thursday at noon.